What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Today we are going to talk about UC schools and UC school applications. It looks like what it requires, what do you have to prepare, how do you have to prepare, what are the things that we have to focus on right now. Right now, I'm talking about May. And some things about 2021 application, because of coronavirus situation, there are some things that you probably want to pay attention, particularly this year alone. And then later on, after next year, things are going to go back to normal. But that's what at least a lot of people assuming. But this year, there's some special cases. Let's talk about all of those. Ready? Before we get into all of that, just for your information, if you don't know who the heck I am Andy at Andyprep. We're located in Seoul, Korea. We specialize in U.S. college entrance, admissions, and college consulting, SAT preparation, and all that stuff. You already knew that because you watched all of my 11, 12 previous videos, right? So I've been doing this for 20, 21 years, and this is my 21st year. And I probably know a little more about average people, and that's what I want to share today. Let's do this. UC schools. How many campuses are there for UCs? UCs, there are 9 schools, right? Let's go down the list. Berkeley, Davis, Irvine, Los Angeles, Merced, Riverside, San Diego, Santa Barbara, Santa Cruz. And there's San Francisco, but San Francisco doesn't have undergrad. So take that out. There are 9 campuses that you could apply to. If you look at the stats, it says last year, UC combined all these 9 undergrad schools, different campuses accepted over 120,000 students, freshman class, and 30,000 transfer students. Takes on a lot of transfer students as well. That's something we're going to talk about a little bit later on today too. All right, okay. As far as application goes, there's one University of California application to fill in. So you attach your transcript. You don't actually attach transcript. That's something we're going to talk about later on. But you type in your school grades, essays, 4 essays out of 8 prompts. You have to write 4 essays. That's those, all the other information. Write one full application for UC school. And then technically you could apply to 9 different campuses. When you do all 9, they will ask for 9 different times of application fee. So you have to send 9 different schools, 9 different application fees. They're not much. But as far as test scores go, like SAT scores, SAT subject test scores, if you're an international student, TOEFL scores, all of that standardized test scores, you only have to submit it to one of the 9 campuses, and then the scores will be shared with the other 8 schools. So as far as score sending goes, just one time. Applications, you have to send it to how many ever schools you're applying to. As far as the applications go, again, you just write one application. Do you get that? Okay, here's some interesting statistical data I want to show you. Let's move this over here. So I'm here, and I can put the data here, right? So if you look at it here, Berkeley, LA, San Diego, Santa Barbara. Anyways, so there's in-state resident application and then out-of-state applications, right? If you look at the statistics, doesn't vary much year to year, but this is 2018 data, but 2019, I'm pretty sure it was close to the same. Now, besides Berkeley is about the same in-state or out-of-state, but other schools, if you go down the list, if you look at Santa Barbara, about 30% to 47%, that's a big jump. San Diego, 26% in-state and 51% out-of-state, almost double. So this happens in other campuses too. So if you just look at this statistics, you could almost say that it's easier to get into UC schools if you're out-of-state candidate than living in California within California apply to UC schools. So in-state versus out-of-state, some people say out-of-state students have a better chance of getting accepted to UC schools. I agree. I mean, that's what these numbers mean, right? Why is that? If you go into UC website, and they will show you that about 90% of student body consists of UC residents. So what does that mean? It means whoever's attending these UC schools, 90% of them are UC, they're living in California. So they grew up in California, they went to high school in California, they're attending UC universities now. So they're 90%. But if you look at the stats we just showed you, the numbers, it doesn't make sense. They're different. So what it ends up happening is, for those kids who are actually from California, those people, almost everybody who gets accepted from one of these schools end up actually attending those UC schools. If you're from California, you go to California University. There's a high chance, really high chance. But if you're out of a state student, even though the acceptance rate is extremely higher than the California residents' acceptance rates, these kids, out-of-state kids, even though they got the offers, they end up going elsewhere, and they end up not coming to UC schools. So what does UC have to do? In the school's perspective, school's point of view, they have to keep the balance, right? They can't, even though they're called the California state schools, they want some sort of a balance between the in-state and out-of-state and mix things up, right? So in order to find the balance, like a good balance between these two, schools will have to make about the right amount of offers to the in-state residents because they know, statistically speaking, almost everybody we give an offer to will end up coming to our school. Other states, they have to double and triple making the offers to these out-of-state kids, because even though we triple and quadruple the acceptance offers, most of them end up not coming to our school. So I have to give out more offers because, the hit rate of accepting our offer is really low from the out-of-state kids. And, I have to kind of give away a lot of offers for out-of-state kids. Does this make sense to you guys? So if you are out of California, it is sort of easier to get accepted to these UC schools. But in reality, when the freshman year begins, you do all the statistical survey, and then most of the kids are actually from California. Only about 10% students are from out of state. Even though college in the previous year made more offer to the out of state students, they all went somewhere else and not coming to UC schools. But again, go back. What I'm trying to say is what we want at this point is get in, right? Get the offer from these schools. So if you're out of state, that doesn't mean you have a low chance of getting accepted to UC schools. If you're from California applying to UC schools, then you have other ways to apply to UC schools. But if you're out of state, statistically speaking, you do have some sort of a higher chance of getting accepted. All right, here is something else. I don't want you to misunderstand what I'm saying here today, because by law, UC scores are required by law to accept about 90 to 95% of California residents because they are state schools. Their money comes from the California residents, people from California, and then they have to accept more Californians, right? So by law, 90 to 90% differs from school to school, but about, let's say 93%, for example. That's how much they're asked, they're required to accept California residents. Whatever seats that are left from there are given to the out-of-state candidates. So the number of seats to begin with are very small for out-of-state kids, but colleges will make triple, quadruple amount of offers because these kids who got the offers end up going to elsewhere and not coming to UCs. So in order to find the good balance between, they have to give away a lot of offers. Does this make sense? Okay, so what are the requirements for UC schools? If you're in-state, out-of-state, it's different. But in general, you want to look at something like this. If you are going to be a strong candidate for UC schools, things like this. Academic grade point GPA, 3.0 or better. Non-residents need a minimum of 3.4 GPA, nothing lower than C grade, right? And the ACT or SAT with the essay portion. That's what they require in normal days. This year, 2020, because of coronavirus situation, they kind of lowered the bar a little bit. So this essay on the SAT or ACT portion is no longer required. Matter of fact, the whole SAT and ACT is not required this particular year. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get accepted without submitting this SAT score. That's just what they're saying on their website. Even though you lost the chance of taking the SAT in spring of 2020, it's okay, calm down, don't panic. We will accept your application. What the heck is that? That means you could still submit the application, pay the application fee and all that. That doesn't necessarily mean then you're going to be a strong candidate that will accept you. That's a different story. So watch out for that. If you want to make yourself appear to be a strong candidate, submit everything that you can. SATs, when it's really not required, submit it because your SAT is freaking awesome. And subject test scores. SAT with the essay and stronger GPA and all that stuff too. So the more you show, the better chance you're going to have, right? So just keep that in mind. All right, something interesting here is if you're an in-state candidate, by the end of junior year, if you're ranked top 9% from your high school, you're eligible to apply without the SAT or nothing. Just with that school GPA and ranking, you can still apply. That's interesting. Now, let's go back to the application, right? When you're filling in the application, normally in Common App, not UC application, but Common App, you have to ask your school counselor to send your school profile and your transcript, right? So that's the school guidance teacher's job to do. But UC is different. As far as UC application goes, you are self-reporting your GPA. Does that mean? So UCs don't want the actual copy of your transcript. They're just kind of nicely asking you to type in yourself, whatever the courses you took in 9th grade and what grades, what scores you got from those courses, okay? Sophomore year, junior year too. And again, the senior year grades do not count. They don't want to look at your senior year performance, right? That's just the rule. But you still have to type in the name of the courses you're taking in senior year. They will take into consideration of looking at the course selections, but they're not so much interested in what you are getting in those courses in senior year. So again, up until the end of junior year is what's going to make all the difference. And senior year, not really, right? Just keep that in mind. All right, I found something funny. Okay, if you look at UC website, they say these things can put you in a good position, make you a strong candidate. Listen to this. Let's read this. Outstanding performance in one or more specific area, like academic, extracurricular activities, volunteer service, whatever. One area or one or more, but this doesn't apply only to UC schools. This applies to any other schools, including Ivy schools. So who's not gonna like this student? So I don't know. They're just saying it there. Now the second thing is special talents, achievements, awards, special interests, special skills. Jesus, unusual promise for leadership and impact. Jesus Christ. I mean, if you got all these, I mean, you may as well just apply to Stanford, MIT, Harvard too. But that's what UC is really looking for. Leadership, pay attention. Leadership, the impact that you made to the nearby society. And if you got special talents, they will look at that and it makes the big change. If you have special achievements, that counts, awards and special skills. You know, I'm just saying, I'm just reading this. I'm not the one who created all these things. So don't get me wrong. Third thing, last thing is the location of your secondary school and residence, right? If you're a California resident, your file will be reviewed by a different person. If you're out-of-state candidate, there'll be a different reviewer who reads your essays and files. Secondary school location, I think, matters more. If you're an international student, even though you're originally from wherever, Korea, Japan, Hong Kong, China, wherever, but you go to private school in California, then I would say you have a higher chance of getting accepted to these UC schools than other kid from other states. Get it? Just because your high school has a better connection and more often, send kids to UC schools every freaking year, they have a better relationship with the colleges. That's what makes the difference. All right, lastly, let's talk about essays. On the application, there are 8 prompts. 8 interesting prompts. From these 8 prompts, you are asked to choose 4 prompts that can show you 4 different great things about yourself, right? Something to think about. But you don't want, something to keep in mind is you don't want repetition. Like the essay, for example, you wrote something about sports. And then the second thing, again, you were going to say something about something different, but again, you ended up speaking sports. And then third thing, the best thing to do is sports. Like after reading all these 4 essays, the reader, the admission person, the only thing he's got out of reading 4 different essays is sports. Like you may as well just be an athlete, right? You see where I'm going with it? So if you can show 4 different characteristics, 4 different great things about your personality, that's what we want to aim for. That's what we want to get out of these 4 essays. Again, 4 out of 8 prompts. So choose carefully. All right, what about transfers? It's really not easy. I don't want to say easy. A lot of people will interpret wrong way when I say easy. But I think if you go to, for example, 2-year junior college in California and then want to transfer into one of these 9 UC campuses, you have a high chance. That's what I want to say. If you go to, I don't know, whichever campus is ranked the lowest among 9, you go to number 9 school and then you want to transfer into number 1 ranked school, for example, UCLA or UC Berkeley, you have a higher chance than those people who apply from out of state, from out of nowhere, like other colleges from out of state. Because by law, California Education Department, they require UC schools to accept students within California first, and there are more seats available for California residents than transfer students coming from other states and other countries. So if you're your ultimate final goal is to go to UCLA, UC Berkeley, but you sort of didn't get in the first shot, freshman application, then you go somewhere else in California and then transfer into that school you wanted to go to the next year. That's, some people call that a strategy. I would say, why not? It makes sense. God, I need more coffee. Okay, that's it for the day. Thank you for watching the video until the end. If you want to share this video, that means a lot to me. You can share this video with your friends, family, brothers, sisters, people you hate even. Appreciate that. Again, I try to upload 1 or 2 videos a week. If you don't want to miss our future videos, please subscribe and click the like button if you can. I want to hear about your thoughts and ideas about the UC applications, whatever we talked about in this video and other videos too. If you leave some comments and thoughts on the comment section, I will read the questions and comments and then get back to you as soon as possible. Otherwise, stay healthy, study hard, be smooth. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.